It's a little older than that Microsoft. It's a little older than Microsoft.
I mean, no, I'm sorry.
It's an exclusive product, so I mean, we have really inside information that they're about to, that they will receive an order for another 45,000 units for the next 2 years each. But all that being said and done, the point is, this fight's going to take place at another day, at another time, not now.
And I'm okay with that.
It's really simple. When the companies merged MBA beginning January 1st, they're going to assume the note, agree to a 2-year balloon.
Which means they're going to sell again to somebody with cash.
Within 2 years. And not going to have to, because actually we're going to make plenty of money in the meantime and pay it off. But yes, if the rest of this failed, they'd have to sell again in 2 years with cash.
I thought they were doing a little public anyway.
It's a great possibility. It's an exit for everybody if we don't, if the rest are not that.
No, but it's the 3 or 4 agents I've talked to about different aspects of this. The 10-year statutory period does not stop the trust fund. It just means they can't levy new assets after 10 years. But any assets you have remain levied.
It's not just trust fund, it's any other. Exactly right. Craig rents his house, rents his car for 10 years.
Right.
Then he can do whatever he wants. The lien exists, but only as to pre-existing assets.
Right.
So, I mean, there's not really a lot of choice in that matter.
No.
Well, that's not anything. It says, we'll wait 2 years and let this guy get out of office, we'll go submit the offer and compromise.
Assuming the next person's more simple.
Yeah. The other side, we're going to knock out on it. We're here pressed from having agents who apply as a special advisor to the President of the United States and they apply before the end of the year. Hey, it's a whole different game that's coming.
You understand where I'm coming from. I mean, I'm not at all disagreeing with any of that. I'm just trying to figure out.
And we'll only be on the trust fund portion, so just pay them off.
I'm trying to figure out, right, but we're just saying we can't go do trust fund portion because this guy is an election.
Sunshine gets blown away.
Sunshine gets blown away.
Craig gets assessed, whatever the trust fund is, after we reapply, everything we can imagine we reapply.
Right,
What
and
did
the
it
three
say on
of
the
them.
sunshine?
It's his responsibility.
He's responsible for it, and there's no question about that.
No question about how it's
No
going.
question.
He signed all the sunshine checks.
Oh yeah, there's no question.
Sunshine.
During this period.
And would be, so, he said he asked to Paradigm PBS, really not.
Is there a way-
32 million.
Is there a
With
way
penalty,
to
with the.
apply- Wow, okay.
The only way to play it just applied to trust fund first, and then they were pretty, you know, remember, these guys they really like it. They really want to take this case. They're really worried about the time consumption. They've been talking about how they can make sure they don't get dragged into something that takes up time that they can't really afford to spend on it. But ultimately what it comes down to is, do you want this fight? If you want the fight, stop paying them and fight. You might just win. You got a good chance of winning this. And that's really what it comes down to.
You understand exactly what I'm
You're just worried about the time you miss paying.
No, it's more than the timing. It's miraculously, we're able to come up with $132 million or whatever the magic number is in 2 years to pay off the taxes.
It's not miraculous, I'm going to tell them. I went to Lawrence Gibbs. His advice to me was, you guys can't opt. The reason that this isn't a problem at the moment is because he says we would be better off in criminal investigations because they're more reasonable than you. Not a little bit more reasonable, substantially more reasonable than collections. He says, so what we suspect is this has now gone up one level. You have one of these hard-nosed who listen to Mr. Everson say to you, the problem is non-compliant taxpayers and you need to go get that money. What he really meant to say is, you need to go be reasonable and get it in whatever way makes the most sense in the circumstance, but most of the mid-level management of the IRS doesn't believe that any longer. So based upon that advice, we're going to shorten a period of 2 years, and based upon the advice, if you look at all my pretty charts, I said we'd have $900 million by January. We have $1.5 billion in revenue on January 1, and we're going to double it by July. So you know how come we can pay it? Because we have, well, the company's 600% bigger than it was July 2005.
And I agree with that, but I also have I guess it goes back to the comments that Daley kept making to me, which was, why doesn't Frank just go borrow the money if it's that easy? If he's this well off, why didn't he go borrow the money? Why didn't he do this? Why didn't he do that? If all of a sudden we come back and say, and I understand the logic behind it, but we come back and say, gosh, miraculously we're able to get a $132 million note paid off in 2 years.
Instead of 5.
Instead of 5.
It's not miraculous, because we're.
Not miraculous. We doubled the business over a rotation.
I understand that. Don't misunderstand me. I clearly understand
So-
the mathematics of it and how it works, but what I'm saying is, all of a sudden, it seems like we keep shortening the window because and right now, they haven't said anything to us. I mean, Daley has not even attempted to contact me in 6 weeks now.
He said that that's because these big boys up here put a hole on her damn nose. They'll put a hole, they want to get the data, they don't want it to come through her because they think she'll screw up their investigation.
And she might.
They already have. That's an whole issue. But what's going to happen is this is going to drop off and they're going to be back at it. We might as well just cut it off and end both of these at once. It all goes away.
So what happens if you sign an offer and compromise and something goes horribly awry?
We're going to sign it off.
Not an offer and compromise, an installment agreement.
They can sue on the note. They can go ahead and go after Craig on the collection. They can try to make me a responsible person. That's the only thing McCuskey can do.
Which is why I want you to be an officer. So you get some protection.
It's not going to protect you.
This is not going to do that.
I mean, protect you.
Oh, on a personal level, yeah, but his exposure is more limited. Craig's.
No.
His same exposure as Craig's?
They have more exposure to Craig. They're not going after Craig. They're coming after.
They're coming after him.
Well, Craig's uncollectible.
Craig's uncollectible, and Craig didn't. The debt refinancing agreement puts Frank squarely in the crosshairs, regardless of
Yes,
whether
it
there's
does.
business or purpose or not. The fact is that entire series of transactions,
Frank is betting on this
Yeah.
agreement, bets on the success of this program.
they don't even care about Craig right now. Frank's the one they're after.
Yeah, it's all over for, which is exactly the way I wanted it, with them come after me. They come.
Yes, you're right, you can still protect yourself.
I have protected my, they'll probably, this is a simple trade-off. I close down Doggone Miraculous, I take $3 million and I crush them. I make mincemeat of the IRS and I will make mincemeat of
They
them.
made a lot of mistakes.
But that doesn't serve the better purpose. We should finish building the $1 billion company. Who cares about $132 million?
It's not the dollars I care about. And I want to be clear about that. I could care less than $200 million.
You can remember when $132 million used to be a lot of money.
There were 132 bucks in the last month.
Oh, yeah, I'll take that one. Let me have that one, please.
Peanuts.
But
I
it's
remember
not the
running down there with
dollars.
a banker that cashed a $500 check so they would keep the lights on.
I remember walking over to the Boheme to bail out with the last $78 in the checking account, but it's
This
not the
is
dollars
their,
that's
no,
bothering me.
and then I had this discussion with them, this is their job. You have to go tell IRS in a convincing way that I didn't steal their money, that Miraculous didn't steal their money, that probably that even Vandenberg and Byers and Bertram didn't steal their money and I covered it up. Those are the 3 goals. Panoff's completely okay, he's ready, he asked me a whole bunch of questions. He doesn't see anything, they don't see anything. The only problem is the other side doesn't see it. Now, when they get all the financial stuff that you guys are preparing by January, they're going to look at it and say, he didn't steal the money. That's their only concern at the moment. If the case fails, and it fails in good faith, there will be no repercussions to anything. If it works, there is no problem. It's not going to take 5 years to have that answer. It's foolish for us to
Right,
try to
even
push
if,
that out.
even if the case fails, they still would have received more money during the course of the failure than they ever would
I'm not
receive.
worried about winning.
No, I
I'm not
understand,
worried
but
about winning.
That's
I'm
true.
Trust me, it's not the worry about one, it's not any of that that's got me, that just doesn't sit right now. It's, none of that's bothering me. Again, the dollar amounts don't matter, the win or lose to the IRS doesn't matter. I mean, the fact was, we're planning to pay them in full anyways. All right, so.
I see this as a discount.
It just, it's one of those where suddenly what we said, yeah, we can do it in 5 years, and you already had the plan on the table. Yes, the value of the company's gone up, there's more on the table and everything else, but suddenly we're able to do it in 2 years.
We're not. I'm going to write down a nice letter that says, the new buyer, in light of your conversations about borrowing the money, I went to the bank to see if they could borrow the money. Here's what the bank told me, they can actually borrow the money. It's not going to happen for at least a year, but it really has to be seasoned. By the way, I negotiated a new deal that made this much larger, twice as large as we expected, 6 times as large as it was, and part of my condition for that was they had 24 months to pay this sum of money. You're $132 million on the balance to me. Why did it happen in 24 months? Not that I care about you, I care about me. I want my $100 million in 24 months. You're the beneficiary of it, just like I told you. Now, with that in mind, here comes the Praetorian Guard, because we're going to wipe out the sunshine debt, and we'll file an offer of compromise. We're not going to just go roll over and let them put it in grade. We're going to lose. We just need to know we're going to lose. So we can, incrementally bear credit for the fact that we're going to lose this fight. We're going to lose it. Maybe we'll get lucky and they'll change their policy midstream. We're going to bring the action to try to abate.
How big is sunshine?
60.
Trust fund's about 25.
Is that 60 of the 132 or 60 plus 132?
60 plus 132. We're going to go argue the Paradigm PBS thing. We got lots of work for people to do. We're not just going to roll over on this. In fact, it's going to look the exact reverse. We're going to have gone from rolling over to being very aggressively pushing up the positions, trying to cut down the amount of money that we owe. We're going to tell them they hope that they can get an existing IRS auditor to retire this next week, so she can come to work for us and do the employment audit on this case.
Nice.
She's there right now. They can't get her to quit because they really didn't have work for her. Now they'll get her to quit. She'll come and do this case, and they'll believe whatever she says. We're going to audit it. We're going to argue about the payroll numbers. We can get the credits from the disadvantaged employees that pursue the network. I mean, we can run down. We're going to start fighting the dollar amount now. That's what we're going to do. But one way or another, we're selling this business in 2009.
2009.
2009 is a long time away.
It's an eternity here, but that's, again,
It's really like tomorrow.
no.
It is.
Can you imagine how many things are going to the bridge by the time tomorrow hits?
Yeah,
in the
but
world?
you understand the time accelerates.
You do
Two
understand.
2009 is.
Tomorrow is.
We're going to go address that elephant right up front. I can take the money, I've sent all the proof that.
It's not even the taking, the funny part is it's none of that, because I think we've already laid all that on the table. It's just that all of a sudden we come back 6 weeks after meeting, yes, we're larger than we thought we were going to be, which means we've got a better opportunity to get it paid off sooner. But we said, it's gonna take us at least a year to unravel these records. I'll be honest with you, I'm still not convinced we even want this person to come in and do the audit on the stuff, because I'm leery of what can come out of an audit going through on the records. I'm almost, if the goal is to get it paid off and make this thing go away, I don't want to have anything that we're saying, but we're hedging on this or we're hedging on this. I'd rather just say, this is what's been reported, we know this is over-reported, we don't even care, let's just get it done.
And, and by the way, on the way back, I was in that position too. If all we're going to pay is the taxes, and we're not going to have to pay the penalties and not have to go through an abatement fight, then skip it.
That goes back to our discussion from earlier about AEM. every scenario I go through, I can't see how we win by doing it, because we're gonna have a huge cost up front. We open ourselves up to discovering something that shouldn't exist. We open ourselves up to an audit that tells us something that is different than we
Maybe it's
believe.
gonna get worse.
And if, no, but.
No, there's no way, well, the liability may shift, that's what.
The liability may shift, but the problem is, if we come back with anything different than what we've reported, and we get an auditor to sign off, in order for them to sign off, they have to be comfortable. I don't think there's an auditor in this country that can sign off on AEM the way it sits right now. Just in case you wonder. But beyond that, if they come back with anything that they have comfort on that doesn't corroborate what we've told them, we just shot ourselves in the foot. That's our last hole of credibility. This thing is unauditable. And that's why I think that.
And frankly speaking, it really is, unless you spend a bunch of time and money. Hey, let me tell you what, I am 90% okay towards that goal.
I know you are, I know.
Yeah.
Particularly if they'll come.
But they're
About
not
7
gonna
o'clock.
compromise. All they'll do is reduce penalties, that's
That's what I mean by compromise.
Okay.
They're not gonna compromise on the trust fund.
or the regular tax. But the more I thought
Okay,
about this
they-
whole argument, the more I realized what I need to do on the fact that if we actually get something done, it flies in the face of what we said, which is these things are such a disaster, it's almost gonna be impossible to get it done. I mean, that's what we laid out to them in July. It just scares the bejeebers out of me to actually get an audit done on this. Because if we're able to get it done, it's gonna take eternity, which doesn't help us in the finance.
Well, then you just made my case, Dan. You just made my case. My case is, here's the reported tax. For Paradigm PBS. Sunshine Companies is gone, offering compromise only, teeny tiny amount, let them reject it, but at least we'll try it. We'll
Right.
pay for that expense, we promise Craig we do our best.
Right.
Cost us $50,000 to run this offering compromise through. We might get lucky, somebody may like him, his uncle's there or something, I don't know. Or the IRS will switch its policies. And if we lose it in a year, we lose it in a year. We'll just have to, Craig will have to know that at least he's got a salary if he has no assets.
What are you gonna offer? What are you gonna offer?
I think based on his 433A, he's not worth more than $1 million to the IRS over a 10-year period. He's not, based on the list of stats, I think he can't be worth more than $5 million. So we offer him $2 million.
That's what I was
They'll take that
saying.
in a heartbeat. And if they don't take that, they're idiots, because that's the best, that is literally the best possible case scenario. How are you gonna possibly pay a guy to be any type of executive if he's got an IRS lien out there? I mean, you destroy your credibility as a public company.
$2 million.
$2 million is generous.
Very generous.
So we offer $2 million on Sunshine, and we tell them, we don't want to spend any more money on PBS. It's a screwed up doggone mess. We're gonna just agree to pay the $132 million. It's not even $132 million actually, that note covers the difference. We're gonna pay you the note, which is the full value of the assets.
What's the
The BCA note for $132 million.
We're gonna have BCA. Let me rephrase that. We need to find a way to get BCA cleaned up.
Yeah,
In
actually,
order for us to have any shot, we shot ourselves in the foot. I took the bullet for that, because Berkowitz threw it out in the meeting, which is, you told us this was gonna happen, you told us this was gonna happen, you told us this was gonna happen. We're 9 months further down the road since what you told us was going to start happening, and all we've done is incur the liability, so I wanna make sure. that
yes. Oh, I see. Yeah, I thought you were.
No.
Okay, yes.
You understand what I'm saying?
That part of BCA is fine, right, yes. By the end, the
I
rest
don't
of it, I
care
was
if
hoping was done.
I
Yeah.
have a vote, but by December 31, we need to make sure we've got that.
Yeah.
That's my only concern there, because otherwise they'll come back and they're not gonna be at all passive through this thing, and we can see what we do, they're gonna come back with guns blazing.
That's why, everything you say though, it all brings us back to the
They
exact
can't play
point.
us for guns.
No.
No.
Again, I'm not worried about the settlement, I'm not worried about anything else, it's the fact that we're suddenly this balloon, this is gonna miraculously go on in 2 years, when we already said it's gonna take us a year at least to season the book and everything else to see if we have a shot, and we've gotta have time to roll it
And I'm
up.
not suggesting we go and change it. I mean, like I said, maybe we just leave the 1 million for next year, and then we go to 2 million the year after.
No,
All
but
we're gonna do
we're
is
gonna-
call the balloon in 2 years.
Okay, but let's step back for just a second. Let's assume for argument's sake, we can get the book in reasonable form January 1. we have to season it for 12 months, and you have the ability to get a loan on it, then we would, in theory, that gets us all the way through 2007. Then, assumedly, if we can get all this done properly, and we can add, if we get it done right, we can, but we have until December of next year before we even are going to have a shot at really knowing what we're working with, because we will finally have had a chance to prove it out. I understand what you're saying.
Who are you telling this to? Are you telling me that's the truth? Are you telling me this what you want to try to persuade someone to?
No, there's a certain level of truth to it, but how, if you go to the outside,
Season the rate to make.
I heard what Robert said.
It's all on pro forma.
It's all on performance.
All you need to do is have the right platform, that's what MBA is.
Okay.
MBA has a solid audited history for a decade and a half.
Okay.
The
So we
question-
roll everything up under there. and-
Right, that's why I'm rolling it back to there. Everybody's gonna say, well, they only make, 1.5%. We're gonna say, that's exactly right. On the first 500 million, they make 1.5%. On the next 5.5 million, they make 2.5. On the third 500 million, they're making 4. They're too small in their size. What's not readily apparent is their platform isn't really big enough to do it. We have to take our ThinkWorks system and insert it. But the same principle applies. You make a lot more money on $1.5 billion than you do on 500
Oh,
million.
sure, absolutely. Economy of scale, whole nine yards.
You see, so I'm not at all worried about getting the money. I'm just worried about making it seem rational.
That's, again, the rational part's the part that's been killing me in this whole thing.
We'll get there.
Okay.
Dan Myers insisting that it be rational. What is the world coming to?
That's shocking. One,
While we're talking to Frank, why don't you look at these, because I have to deal with this tomorrow morning.
I saw that.
No, there's been reading.
So I haven't seen the notes on it, but I got the copy now.
Oh.
I literally, or 2 hours ago.
Argent Firma is going to go to a spreadsheet for registration purposes, because it's holding all the coastal stuffs. And we'll have 5 owners of that. So they'll drop to the separate sheet over here with these. O'Sullivan, Glover, all that cards. Just some people to come in, just so we don't have to have 50 million resumes put out in this thing. So where do you see things going and moving? The blue boxes are being closed or are closed. The green boxes are closed or are closed. The blue boxes are shut.
What do you mean by that?
To Titanium or over to there, or where I was.
Well, our discussion the other day, we think, you're gonna have to do all the other stuff. I don't care if we date it 12/31/06 and make it retro to 1/1/06, but I think we're gonna have to do that. We just need to figure out what the limitations are for most licenses.
But just close them all down, just transfer the business over.
If we shut it down, we have to lock it down, and that's agree, then that we go wind up with something to make for it. We have to make something as of 1/1, so we don't have to go through any audit or something like that. Even if it was July 1, we did as part of ECA, we have to audit for 6 months. Exactly. Welcome to my world. Now you know what my nightmare's been for the last 2 weeks. I don't mind doing a retro agreement to make sure it doesn't affect my licensing. We need to figure that out.
Yeah. Okay. I'll start working on that. That's, yeah. Yeah.
That, again, we want our spot, but I can't imagine anybody
That's not
signing
like, yes, I
off.
don't.
More importantly, the thing I actually thought about was, we're saying this is how the tax is recorded. PTS for the first 6 months, great, that's good. Except that all that should have been tax. How is anybody going to reasonably say there's not a lot for free? You know what I mean?
That's right. I heard you say that.
So, I just don't see that.
Yeah. No, that's right. You're right about that. Hey, Jay and Shane, fuel pack.
Companies? A lot.
How are we doing on the order?
I think we have a new one.
Larson?
No, well, Larson, it turns out Larson bought Chastang Farrell, which is a local company. And Chastang, I met with Larry Cleese, who happens to be a good friend, like 25-year friend of Bill Walsh. So Larson, the managing partner of Larson, happens to be a friend of Jason Carlson's.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, happens to be.
How
yeah.
big are they?
They're top 20. They're number 17 with the purchase of, they're like 18 with the purchase of Chastain.
Are they based at the Midwest?
Huh?
Are they based out of the Midwest?
They're based in Minnesota, but they're buying the company here that has a very large presence here. They've got 4 offices, one of which is in Orlando. Actually, the guy I used to work for started this
Did we get
20 years ago.
information
Of what?
why they want to buy us?
Yeah, they can handle us. They have 2 staff, though.
And what does it say in the letter?
The resignation, I don't have it yet, but that's what it's gonna say.
Because they completed the audit, they're not withdrawing the audit?
No.
Nothing like that?
No, and actually, they were begging me to find out to stay engaged. I'm actually.
Probably do the PEO business.
Huh?
Probably want to do the PEO business, right?
They would actually do the PEO business. They would actually do any of it, but they want to stay engaged because, I mean, Jay actually likes us. Jay was actually really ticked that his partners made him withdraw from the engagement, but the reality was, he figured they need about 5 staff to do this, including managers and seniors and whatnot. They have 2 staff available, one of whom got 2 years of experience now, the other one has 1 year of experience. That's what we wrapped up our audit with last year, was a partner in those 2 people. They can't handle us. And when Katie came in to look at it, and they figured out we've gone from 30 to 80 companies, there was just nothing left for them. They physically can't handle us. So I'm actually.
We keep one of the big companies, so ours.
Well, I don't think a big company will take us right now, and I think Bill's relationship with Chastain, with Larry
I'm sure
Reese
that
there.
will help, right?
Plus, it happens to be Chastain's the firm that has the Nexia name.
Right.
So there's a lot of intricate reasons. Jason, the managing
Right,
partner
no, I
there.
understand Jason's father, the client, and all that stuff.
Very pleased. Yeah, Bill Walsh was in one too,
You know?
so that's the partner
What
we're
do you,
trying
what
to
do you think of
engage.
the firm? Right.
Let me see.
What do you think of the firm?
I think largely.
What is the general perception in the accounting community of the firm?
Of Chastain?
Yes.
They're one of those kind of lower middle. But they're part of a 40-50 firm network in the US.
Called Nexia.
And they're also,
Which
with
is
a relationship
international.
with American Express.
Well, American Express bought a firm, and so American Express had.
No, American Express has sold it to H&R Block.
Right, but they had bought it all
Yeah.
the time. They've subsequently sold it, but.
They're pretty small. They've got two, Larry and there's another partner of mine who are pretty good. But there's another firm up there, who are 4 ex-PwC partners. You set them up. They're,
Is that more Stevens, Douglas?
no, I've got a relationship with them.
Okay.
We can't just change the starter.
But we'll keep James Moore on for some of the subsidiary events.
Well, and they said they'd come in for the interview process, they would come help out, they would write whatever.
I'm sure they'd like to
they need
continue the PEO. It's easy. It's super.
I have another one, UHY.
Yeah,
Presidians.
they're Presidians.
Morning.
Look,
I don't even tell them who you
Bill says to me, he says, yeah, we're looking, Chastain's looking to merge with a firm in the Midwest. I'm like, can you tell me who? He's like, no. I said, can you tell me who it's not? Is it UHY? He goes, no, it's not them. I said,
No, okay, all right.
because that would have
It's just
immediately ended
tremendous
that.
volume, so It doesn't go anywhere, so it won't go anywhere now.
Yeah, not that we won't want to deal with them, we just won't want to mention we're Presidian.
Not today, next year maybe, Phil.
Let me give you the other side of this scenario. I got a real good feel on where our numbers are going right now. After this, I'm just gonna pay this. Take about 6 months. I'm gonna change some of our plans to do this.
You're killing me. Hey, where are you?
I'm just gonna do this.
Yeah, go ahead and park there. I'm at Trust right now. I'll be out of here in about 5 minutes.
Did
and I'll
you
walk
hear
up there and
about
meet you.
the Federal Reserve building?
Yeah,
Yes, that's what-
I'll call you when I'm on my way.
I'm going up on Thursday.
All right, then, bye.
I've got 4 people, business turnaround specialists. I've got an ex-PW public company manager. She's very heavily by productivity. And she rang me up and said, what do you think? We might come and talk to us. So she's interested in getting on around just now. And another guy who's the managing director of one of the largest training corporations in the country. We can probably get on 2.5 or 3 grand a month. He knows everybody.
Did you get the spreadsheet?
What's the answers?
Did you get the spreadsheet on the
He paid $1.2 million.
I started to put together.
On a note.
I have a copy of it. She has.
Is it Shell?
Yeah.